Humanitarian groups, as you've heard, they are rushing to deliver life-saving medical supplies to help those in need. And joining me now from Ukraine is UNICEF spokesperson James Elder. James, I'm glad to have you here, particularly on the heels of that report we just heard, with the UN Refugee Agency saying that about 1.5 million people have fled Ukraine in the last 10 days. Tell me what you and your fellow staffers are seeing where you are.
The most harrowing scenes, Alex, from those people still trapped in bunkers now, who are without power, without warmth, who are under bombardment. The mothers I speak to who lie over their children at night in bunkers, not so much for warmth, but they think it's an extra layer of protection from the missiles that keep raining in. So you know, as long as the conflict continues, we keep seeing children killed. And then, of course, 1.5 million people, fastest growing refugee crisis since World War II, 750,000 children. What we see is each one of those. We see those stories, as your correspondent showed, Alex. We hear what that means for a mum and why children no longer cry because of the trauma. This is what we're seeing in all corners of the country.
As horrific as that is to hear, James, I'm curious how much worse you think the humanitarian crisis can get.
Yeah, we haven't seen, as a Ukrainian said to me, and as your correspondent said, they're very positive. We haven't seen the bottom of the pit yet. I'm terrified for what this could look like. There is no slowing down in the flow of people leaving. That's 100,000 or more a day. There is no slowing down in the bombardment. We've seen people try to leave. We've seen humanitarian corridors be broken and time and again, and civilians seeking to leave and killed. It can continually get worse. We can see what happened today again and again and again, and that the strength of those Ukrainians who are trying to help their fellow citizens, or as you saw on the border neighbouring countries, is being exhausted. Not to say it won't continue, but I can see it getting much worse, horrendously. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Listen, James, you tweeted earlier photos of a makeshift maternity ward. It was in Kharkiv, which of course has suffered tremendous damage. How are babies, newborn precious babies and their moms, how are they getting the supplies they need in wartime? And are there resources that you need the most to help them?
Yeah, Alex, it's a great question. You've seen that. You've seen makeshift hospitals, and you're seeing babies in incubators. How do we get babies in incubators out of the country? And doctors, again, these selfless pediatricians now in wartime. I mean, there have been good days. There are good days when you see volunteers and grandmothers cooking. There are good days when you see 60+ tons of supplies from UNICEF come across into Ukraine today. Surgical equipment, midwifery equipment, oxygen resuscitation equipment. That's going to hospitals as you and I speak, from Kiev, the capital, to Kharkiv, across more than 50 hospitals. That's life-saving equipment, and that's what UNICEF will keep doing. This is the very beginning, sadly, but we will see tons and tons more of that go to those very brave doctors and mums who are giving birth in those places you spoke of.
Hey, James, everybody who's watching right now, what can they do to help UNICEF's efforts?
Look, the support is wonderful. I wish there was a magic way beyond just generosity of spirit and this open-heartedness we see, but you know, those medical supplies, a surgical kit, a kit for children for recreation, they cost money. So look, UNICEF USA, I've got amazing colleagues there. Anyone who has a few extra dollars on this Sunday, unicefusa.org, you know, that money goes in those trucks and gets to those hospitals.
Okay, James Elder, bless you and the work that you and UNICEF are doing. Thank you so much. Stay strong.